Things sports, plus cop talk, current events, entertainment, and more. Joined by America's favorite Jersey girl, Robin Delory. It's the King and the Cop. Now, here's Tommy, Jimmy, and Robin.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the King and the Cop. I'm Tommy Setner, a.k.a. the Cop.
And I am the King, Jim Leyritz.
And Robin Delory is yet again on assignment.
Busy baseball
Yes, I
days.
am.
All right. How you doing, Robin?
It's another baseball day.
All
I'm
right.
good. It's raining.
Yeah. It's a little overcast here in Tampa today where we're doing our show live from the studio. And you can call us at 727-518-0820, the Big 8, WWBA, Sports Talk, Florida. Jimmy, big day for us. And Robin, we got our good friend, and Mets legend, as much as I've been giving the Mets fans a hard time. This is one of my favorite people that I've had the pleasure of doing business with, and I can call him a friend. Good old Doc Gooden's coming on today, Jimmy, at 4:25.
Yes, Dr. K will be on.
And, looking forward to that and catching up with Doc. But one of the lead stories...
Tommy, I wanted to just say about that. Doc Gooden is a total baseball star because I even knew his name.
Oh, well, thank you, Robin. There you go. I know you've met.
So I'm really excited for the show because I think it's so cool that you have Doc Gooden on the show.
I remember that we went to a game with Jimmy and Doc, and we were in one of the Yankee suites, and you got your picture taken with Doc, and your kids couldn't believe it because they're Met fans, and you used that picture to brag that you were you knew more about sports than them at that point, but... That being said, we got a little bit of a serious subject. One of the MLB players, Joc Pederson, I believe he did win the World Series in that shortened season with the Dodgers, right, Jimmy?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, and he's got a lot to say today about the difference in the teams regarding their payroll salary. And I know you have a lot to say about that. And, this is nothing new, but I guess when they're paying players $43 million a year, it brings more light to the total payroll of each team.
Well, it's one of those things that we do have an agreement in baseball, but we still have plenty of disagreements. We know that the players don't trust the owners don't trust the players. But the good thing about it is baseball's back on the field. But Joc Pederson's comments is something that is when we're thinking about the arguments that they had and some of the differences, this is still one issue I think that the MLBPA forgot about.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that even though you agree to have the competitive balance agreement as far as what the threshold would be for teams to spend, how much they were allowed to spend, the problem is they still forgot, just like they did in 2005 or 2006 when the last agreement, when they finally put the luxury tax in, and they said the money that was paid in the luxury tax just could go into the pockets of the owners. They didn't have to spend it on salaries, and they missed that again. And I think something, either the union should have said, listen, we want this threshold to be this high, but we also want the minimum salary to be between 75 and 100 million, so all these teams are competitive. And you know what, Tommy, I understand teams like Pittsburgh and Baltimore and say, we don't have that kind of a pay. You know what, they get $100 million from a TV revenue.
Exactly.
The bottom line is, if you can't afford to have a team, if you have a business and you can't make money and you can't compete with the big boys, what happens?
You're out of business.
You're out of business, and somebody else comes in and tries to compete. You've got teams in Nashville, people in Vegas, people in Charlotte, and I'm sure there's a few more that I don't know about that would love to have a Major League Baseball team. And I know for sure 100% Nashville and Vegas are 100% ready to put a team in there.
Well, football made the move to Vegas.
Exactly.
It opened the door for baseball. Do you think does the Major League Baseball owners, I know they're a membership, but or MLB itself, strong arm these teams that aren't doing the right thing?
I think any negotiations that the owners would have amongst themselves would be, hey, listen, if you can't afford more than $35 million or $36 million for your payroll, and I go to Nashville and I go to Las Vegas and say, listen, can you guys guarantee us that you're going to have a $75 to $100 million minimum payroll? And if you do, I'm going to go back to Tampa. I'm going to go back to Baltimore. I'm going to go back to these teams and say, if you cannot, this is, we're in the business of making money for Major League Baseball. If you can't bring your salary minimum up, then we're going to go ahead and move these teams.
So I have a bounce around. We talked about it yesterday. We had Sweeney Murdy, insider of the Yankees. Jimmy, I'm having trouble talking today. I don't know what it is. It must be the weather. But, he reported a lot of things to us. But today we read that the Yankees are looking to offer by next week Aaron Judge before the season a contract.
Yeah, I believe after yesterday there was some talk during a press conference, and Hal, and I think it was Hal, said that, hey, listen, we understand this. We don't want it to be over our heads the entire season, and within the next week or so, we're gonna make a legitimate offer.
A question to you. I mean, and I'm sure Judge feels this way. You want this settled before the season. You don't want this on your head. Never mind being on the ownership's head. What about the player that has to get up there and face a 100-mile-per-hour fastball every 5 minutes, and in his back of his head, he's still thinking, am I staying here next year? I mean, it has to go. It's human nature to feel that way.
Yes, exactly. And like I said, we never know what goes on behind the scenes. We don't know. Aaron Judge has stated his side that says, listen, I want to always be a Yankee. I want to be in pinstripes for my whole career. So he's got, we know the commitment is on that side. Hal Steinbrenner has said, we want to make this kid an offer. So you know what? Get it done. And like you said, don't let it be a distraction the entire year, because don't get me wrong, it may not be a distraction for Judge. It may not be a distraction for Hal Steinbrenner. They may know what they want to do, but the New York media, it will be a story.
Oh, they'll make up their own story. It'll be fake news.
Year.
It'll be fake news for sure.
Exactly.
I was thinking about our guest today, Doc, and what do you think when you and I talked about this? We touched on it yesterday, and we talked about it off the air. Probably one of the 5 best seasons ever when he had pitched. I forget how many wins it was. Matt, you could look that up for us, but I think it was 25, to be honest with you, and his ERA was under 2. What would they have signed Doc in today's world to?
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Well, Scherzer's getting $43 million. Well, arguably Doc ran into some interference during his career, but there was no doubt as far as physical ability, he was one of the greatest pitchers in that year or that 2-year span for sure in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the 1 year, the one big year, and if you put it up in the category of, best seasons, one season. You're talking that that's probably definitely in the top 5, along with the
Koufax, Gibson,
exactly.
Mickey Lolich,
all those big years.
Jimmy, but back then, they didn't. I remember the old story. Not that Doc was playing in this year, but when Mickey played, I think he hit 50-something home runs, blah blah blah, and he made $100,000. Next year, he only hit 48, and they cut his payroll.
Yeah.
They cut his paycheck. But in this day and age, you have one good year like Soto did in D.C. or these young kids. Doc might have been locked up for 8-10 years back then with a huge contract. They just didn't think like that then. They knew they had arbitration and they could hold you and for a few years before they had to pay you. Now it seems the owners are getting a little smarter. They're paying you when you're young and just locking you up.
Well, yeah, the amount of money that's in the game today, and we're going back to the salaries and things like that. I mean, the bottom line is that now that the minimum salary for your first year player is $715,000.
Wow.
If you think about this, and it's a 26-man roster. Let's just say you're the Baltimore, you're one of the lower teams, and go, if I paid all 26 guys $715,000, it comes out to be around $18 million.
Yeah.
If you're only spending 36, half of your roster, that you can't build a winning team or a competitive team if you're only spending $40 million in today's game. And I think they've got to figure out something on the other end. And I know there's already an agreement. And they probably can't do it now, but there's got to be a way that the ownership group can say, hey guys, listen, if you can't afford this, then we have to consider other places to move your teams to. Yeah.
So I'm being told that Doc was 24-4 in 1985, and 268 strikeouts. And you ready for this, Jimmy? 1.53 ERA.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good.
That's not bad. You know, you got a shot to win the game when he was on the mound back then. Hey, call us at 727-518-0820. We're on the Big 8, 820 a.m. live. This is a live show now, so call us. I want to hear from you, law enforcement guys. How's it feel to make about $100,000 a year, 120, risking your life every day, and you got a ball player, no offense to the ball player, making a minimum of $750? Call me. I'd like to hear. I know you're all big baseball fans, and I don't begrudge anybody making that kind of money. When's somebody going to step up and pay the real hero some money? But that being said, Jimmy, speaking of making money, how about wide receiver from the Kansas City Chiefs, Hill, going to Miami?
Big
Miami,
news, big news.
And Miami flips him right around to a 4-year, $120 million contract, $120 million for 4 years in NFL, which is unheard of for a wide receiver, and $70 million is guaranteed. As we know in the NFL, you're not guaranteed your money, but they guaranteed him $70 million. So I think Miami, through Kansas City, 5 draft choices, but man, they got themselves one hell of a player. But I don't know, is he the same kind of wide receiver without Mahomes as his quarterback?
Well, I will say this with Tua there, who's an optional quarterback, who's, runs the ball and everything else, and Coach Mike McDaniel's offense down there in Miami, this guy fits in pretty well. They already had Jaden Waddle as one of their top receivers, and I think this is if you're Miami, you gotta steal. You got a great deal.
100%.
And you got someone in there that can come and game change. I was looking at the stats. Tyreek Hill is that leading player with 50-plus yard touchdowns by, I think he has like 30, and the next closest is like 17.
Here's my issue with it, though. Arguably, Mahomes is one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the NFL. He's not there. Who's getting him the ball? Yeah. I'm not confident that Miami's quarterbacks. They can't even make a decision on who their quarterback is yet.
Yeah, I think it's, like I said, I think it's going to be a great deal for Miami. The problem is in Miami with giving up these first round picks, and they're giving up the 29th pick and the 50th pick. There's still going to be a weak offensive and defensive lines, and
right.
That's where they really needed the most help. And most naysayers in Miami are saying, well, that was a great trade, but it doesn't address the other needs that
That's
we
right.
really
And
have. So
you got to have some time to throw the ball to get it to him down the field. It's as fast as he is. But, good for him. Won a Super Bowl with Kansas City, and he's moving on up, as we say here on 820.
Exactly.
But, tonight we're going to the Yankee-Baltimore game. And
Yes.
Hopefully we'll see some of the real starting team out there because they're home, so I'm sure we'll see Judge and Stanton. And what's DJ? Is he hurt, or what's going on with him?
Yeah, we haven't. They've kept that pretty quiet. They haven't really made any comments about it. And we were just talking about it yesterday with Sweeney. The bottom line is that you just gave this guy a nice contract. He's a former batting champion.
Yep.
And you're gonna not. You don't have a position for him to play.
That doesn't
even
make sense.
DH. I mean, it's gonna be. They got some decisions to make, and who knows if they're done making trades or making moves that would.
Are him and Rizzo going to switch back and forth at first, and one of them DH, one of them play first base? I mean,
yeah, but you got Stanton, and it's DH most of the time.
That's true too. And nobody's got better hands than Rizzo too. You want him out on the field.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I mean, the pitching staff is still a big question mark. Jameson Taillon pitched the other day, his first outing. He did pretty well, but then you had. And I'm drawing a blank again, the lefty that we watched an hour.
Montgomery.
Montgomery pitching. And, again, it's only the first couple of days of spring training. But, you look back on that roster and you just wonder, do the Yankees have enough pitching? And
are they going to buy pitching?
Well, we'll find out. They still have some moves to make. We watched in Toronto, in Dunedin, we watched, Miguel Andujar's, still out there, and I don't think he's going to make the roster. And, this guy, you can't keep sending him back to AAA.
No,
the
it's
guy's
not fair.
proven he can play in the big leagues.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, as a player that went through something like that, getting sent down, you don't have the incentive if you've already done well at the big league level, and you get sent down because there's not enough room. It's not something that you did. It's discouraging. It's like, so what if I go down and hit 350 in AAA? It doesn't mean I'm going to do anything else.
Yeah, you're on that Columbus shuffle, as they used to call it, and
So
you don't want that. You're almost you got to wait for somebody to get hurt. And as a man, you're not rooting for somebody else to get hurt because you won't want somebody rooting for you to get hurt. But it's
so there's a few things the Yankees can still do as far as trades go, and we have about another 10 days, 2 weeks.
I think they're shopping for another catcher too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's
you ready to go back?
You have a good comment.
Maybe you should go back.
Yeah, exactly.
I watched you walk yesterday. You ain't going back.
I ain't even getting anywhere near the field. But as far as with the right-left situation they have, it could work out. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, I'm sure Cashman's looking for something, and it remains to be seen. But again, we talked about it yesterday. This division.
Yeah, it's strong.
Anybody can win this division. Listen. We always hope, as a Yankee, as a guy that bleeds blue, I always hope the Yankees win. But it's one of those situations. I look at all those teams, and you put it all on paper, and it's like, okay, this is going to be tough for anybody in this division to win.
We talked about the Red Sox yesterday, and we talked about because the Yankees are open up against the Red Sox, and we're the lead into the Red Sox games on 8:20 a.m. here. But let's talk about our home team here in Tampa, the Rays. I mean, they're no chump change. A matter of fact, they've been the one that everybody's been chasing as of late. So what's your thoughts on their team this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny because every year when you look at their roster for spring training,
you overlook them.
You're like, who are these guys?
Right, exactly.
And for some reason, they just keep winning and keep winning. And for a long time, it was because they had such a great manager in Joe Madden.
Right.
And I think right now, Cash, is a great manager, and I think that's part of it. They despite their lack of high end talent, and I put it that way because there's a lot of great talent on there that goes elsewhere. And continues to do well. But the talent that they have at this particular moment is a great talent. It's underpaid, but they find a way to make these guys win. And
they do.
And it's a cap off to Kevin Cash.
It sure is. Hey, we're going to go to break in about 45 seconds. Robin DeLory, you're on assignment. What do you got going on out there today? We got a lot of static, Robbie. We can't hear you. I don't know what's going on, but I think Robin's at the older son's high school game today, so we'll fix her problem and get back to her. I'm sure she's going to want to report how cold she is and rainy, and but we're looking forward to the next 10 minutes up. Doc Gooden at Big 820. Do us a favor. Call in today, and we'll plug you in and let you ask Doc a question. 727-518-0820. Sports Talk Florida. Give us a call. We're out.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Dan Byer.
Kansas City Chiefs today traded wide receiver Tyreek Hill to the Miami Dolphins, and then the Dolphins gave Hill a brand new 4-year contract worth $120 million. That includes more than $72 million guaranteed, according to reports. Now, Hill and the Chiefs couldn't come to terms on a contract agreement, so that's why Hill is now in Miami. Kansas City will be getting a first-round pick from the Dolphins, plus a second-round pick and a fourth-round pick this year, and fourth and sixth rounders next year. The Jets were reportedly in on
MH.
Jimmy Leyritz, Tommy Setner, and Robin Delory. Jimmy, one of the questions I had was, you're very fond of the city you grew up in, the Cincinnati Reds, and I'm a big fan of Cincinnati. I root for them now. The third base coach is J.R. House, who played with us at the Newark Bears and one of the best men I've ever met. Christian man, Jimmy. He's a good man, J.R. What about what about your good old friend, Tom Brennahan? What are you hearing on him? Any comeback soon, or?
Yeah, Tommy Brennaman, of course, was let go probably a year and a half ago for an unfortunate slur when he thought he did not know he had a live mic. Long story short, with Joe Buck now leaving Fox, it leaves a big hole for Fox as far as the football goes. And Tommy Brennaman at the time was the number 2 guy for Fox during the football season. And there is some talk. Actually, there was an article that came out in the LGBTQ community in Cincinnati, where Tommy has been doing a lot of work with, and being, when you go through something like this, obviously, they want you to learn more about what somebody, maybe your fears or whatever they might call it, and they are actually coming out and supporting Tom Brennaman, saying, you know what, he deserves a second chance. We believe that he's been involved a lot, learning more about what the LGBTQ community is, and we think this guy should get another chance. We feel like his sentiments are genuine, and that he made a mistake.
Well, you grew up with him,
Yes.
your whole life. A mistake. We all make mistakes. You and I sit here with second chances, and I always believe that if you do make peace with the people you offended, I don't know that you deserve the death penalty and never get another chance.
Well, and again, you look back on the comment and things that were said, and it was not being directed at anybody in particular, a community, but not anybody. He wasn't doing it out of anger, out of fear, out of being, because he was in a nervous. It was just a stupid comment that that people make sometimes when they don't know that they're being taped or they're on the air, and whether it's right or wrong.
Well, that part scares me, whether they say it on the air or off the air, right? But the true matter is, if he made an uneducated statement, which he believes he did, he went and got himself educated.
Exactly.
And that community's now accepting him. Because if you're saying it on the air or off the air, well, then we got a different problem. But when you make a remark, whether it's in jest or you're just not educated, good for him that a man of his stature and, very respected guy prior to that, went into the community and said, let me make peace, let me learn, let me educate myself. And now he's being pursued. Of course he wants a second chance, but they're pursuing him. So you know him your whole life. You knew his dad. The family took care of you in the sports world. They would take you to places. I know you're a big believer and you're loyal to your friend, and I'm hoping he gets a second chance because I think he's showed that he has
I want to lead the campaign,
himself.
TC. I'm going to lead the campaign.
Let's get on I'll drive the
Tom
bus.
Brennaman back on the air.
I'll drive the bus. God knows if you got the death penalty for every mistake we all made in this world. And this was nothing physical. This was nothing heinous. This was a stupid-ass remark that he probably will regret, regardless if he's educated or not the rest of his life. Give the guy a second chance because he's a pro. He's a pro.
Yeah.
So anyway,
we're rooting for you, Tommy.
Yeah, that's our statement for the day. God knows we've given world leaders second chances. Let's give this guy a second chance.
Yeah, it's probably the next biggest thing that I want to see happen besides Pete Rose getting the Hall of Fame.
I used to carry a little thing around me. Pete Rose used to say, if there's no baseball, there's no sunshine.
Yep.
And nobody played the game better than him or the right way like he did. And again, then later in life, he gets a little carried away and makes a mistake. But my God, really, does it matter after everything that these different players have done, and
Listen,
we've embraced them.
gambling is teamed up.
Oh,
with
now,
Major League Baseball.
yeah, because we make money now, so it's the number one sponsor. Actually, we're looking for one. So,
Well, it's funny.
you know,
I was watching the news last night, and I was watching. We had plenty of time to watch TV last night because we were in early, and I was just watching all these things, and they were talking about the Super Bowl this year, and it was called what do they call it? It was the Crypto Bowl. That's what they called it.
The Crypto Bowl.
They were talking about crypto, and they were talking about all this Ethereum and everything else, all this kind of money and everything. And the one guy came out and goes, "You know why people love it? You know why sports people love it? It's gambling.
it's gambling.
It's gambling."
It makes the non-fan watch it because they love the action.
Yes, yeah. And so when I was hearing now, I'm just going, you know what? They're right. They're exactly right.
Yeah.
It's allowed now in baseball. It's allowed now in major leagues, and they're making money from it.
And
So
we
you know what?
moved an NFL team to Vegas finally.
Exactly. It should be time that you say, hey, you know what, Pete? You did 27, 30 years, whatever it's been.
You don't do that for murder.
Yeah, exactly. I go, it's time that we let you back in. And the thing about it is, it's the same. I've said this for 10 years now since I've been doing TV and radio and everything else. If you let him in, he doesn't become a story.
Yeah, it's no longer a story. It's
no
a
longer-
1 day, 2 day story.
Yeah, and I think that's, if you want to do the right thing, I think it's time to put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. And if you want to do the second right thing, it's time to hire Tommy Brenneman back on the air.
That's right. Give those two Reds another shot. But good luck to my buddy J.R. House, the third base coach of the Reds. I don't understand why you guys are getting rid of people either, because you were on the cusp last year, right,
Yeah.
Jimmy? I don't understand
Oh,
that.
believe me, my mother and father, my sister and my brother still live in Cincinnati. They're still diehard Reds fans, and they are just up in arms. They're like, we've been so close. Why are the
Yeah, I know.
Castellinis selling out this team?
Well, why are they, Jimmy? What's your opinion on that?
I really don't know, because I've met the Castellinis before, and they were all about winning. They were all about, we want to bring a championship back to Cincinnati. It's a complete shock to me that they've done this 360 turn.
Right.
And Tommy, I can't tell you why. I don't spend enough time in Cincinnati to know.
We're going to be joined in a couple minutes by the great legend, Doc Gooden, New York Mets pitcher. Big Joe, I know you're out there recovering from a back injury. We talked about the Mets the last couple days. I'm sure you're listening. I don't know that you have a more popular Met than arguably Doc Gooden in the day in '86 World Series. That was one crazy team, huh, Jimmy?
Well, did you not see the 30 for 30?
Oh, I sure did.
Oh my God, that was one of the greatest I've ever seen. Besides the University of Miami football one,
Yeah.
I think this was the next closest one I've seen, and it was crazy. It was the sign of the times, and
Yep.
you people always tell me, they're like, you guys were professional athletes. You guys really did all this,
Right.
and we're like, well, that's why I think we're extra special.
Yeah, exactly. That makes you world class.
No, but I mean,
I think the Mets are retiring Keith Hernandez's number this year.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
He was part of it all.
yeah.
Little blah back then, and
what people
played
don't
hard,
understand-
partied hard.
Well, what people don't understand too is when you play 162 games, and it's in 180 days, you have to be somewhat normal as far as your life goes. You just can't be totally committed. I don't think that for every single day, as far as But the one thing about it is, like you just said, it was play hard, work hard, and go hard.
Right.
It was not. It wasn't like any of these guys were going. And when we say party and when we say things like that, it's not like drop down, you're passed out.
I get it. You're letting off some steam.
You're letting off some steam, and it was a different era, different time. The money wasn't as big as it is now.
And let's face it, you guys didn't take care of your bodies like they do today, too.
Exactly.
But you know what's funny about that? There's more injuries today than there was back then. I'll do a silly plug. That's because you didn't have caffeine or water. And Ronnie's weighing in right now, the owner of Caffeine, and so is Joe. And Ronnie's saying, tell Jimmy the Yankees need another pitcher. And of course, Joe can't wait for Dwight Gooden on. But what was your diet? Your Wheaties?
We had a famous saying back in those days: you can't pull fat. And so I always told people, it's one of those things that Mr. Steinbrenner, who worked with the Olympic Committee, and I think it was 1992, he came to me and said, Labritz, you're 220 pounds. You should be, according to your size and your thing, you should be 207. I want you to weigh in at 207. And I said, well, then pay me. And he goes, okay, I'll give you $10,000 for 10 weigh-ins during the season if you stay under 207. And so I said, okay, for 100 extra grand. I was only making 100 grand.
Right.
I said, for an extra 100 grand, I'll do that. Well, I lost all that weight. I got under 207. And Tommy, I couldn't hit the ball out of the ball.
You were warning track power
in batting practice. Right. And so I took the first 10,000. And then after the 10,000, I walked into his office and said, here's the contract. I'm ripping it up. I can't play. I want to be 220, and I play much better at that weight. And for the next 7 years, never pulled a muscle, never got hurt as far as physically goes. I got hit by baseballs. I got
right.
hurt, but as far as pulling muscles or anything like that, never got hurt. And it's because, listen, I was I worked out every day. I was benching 340. It wasn't because I wasn't strong enough. It's just that I had a little extra fat on my body that I didn't pull muscles.
Well, on that note, I'm going to let you introduce the next guest, and he's the great friend of ours and better Major League Baseball legend.
In the air, in the infield, Derek Jeter waiting, makes the catch. A no-hitter for Dwight Gooden.
Doc Gooden, no-hitter with the New York Yankees, which I'll get some.
The call dropped. We got to get Doc back on.
All right, we dropped Doc for a minute, and I'll get some heat that we played the 96 no-hitter of Doc's instead of his legendary Met a couple years. But, Jimmy, were you there for that?
As a matter of fact, I knocked in one of the 2 runs that helped us win that game. Tino Martinez had an RBI, and I had an RBI. And
nice.
If you look in Yankee Stadium, the only picture of me in all of Yankee Stadium, which I still think is a horrendous mistake, but the only picture of me in Yankee Stadium is there's a picture of me carrying Doc Gooden off the field
How great is
on
that?
my shoulders after he pitched that no-hitter. And listen, he didn't do it against a slouch of a team. He just like Jim Abbott, he did it against the Cleveland Indians. Doc Gooden did it against the Seattle Mariners, who were, one of the best hitting teams in that league. And, even that year, their 9th hitter, Russ Davis, who was a former Yankee, Russ Davis was hitting 30 home runs. So this was a powerful, strong lineup. And for Doc to throw that no-hitter, it was pretty amazing.
You'll probably kick me under the table, but if Mr. Steinbrenner was alive, I know there'd be a big picture of the 96 World Series home run at a minimum.
Yeah.
But if not, the one you hit against Seattle and walk that off. Come on, Yankees, I'm starting my own campaign. Put a damn picture up of Jimmy alone. But no harm, no foul, but he deserves it.
Yeah,
so,
at least the number 13 suite. All the suites at Yankee Stadium
are named after somebody.
Well, no, they all the suites are numbered. There's 67 suites,
right?
And whatever number suite it is,
there's a photo.
There's
in
a couple pictures of the players that wore that number. And
who's in 13?
Who do you think?
I know, it's just.
And there's 2 of them. I'm like, hey, take one of A-Rod's down and put one of mine up there.
This is a cheap shot, but not for nothing, guys. He admitted 3 times what he did. Do we really want his picture up there?
So.
I don't know. Ask the New York fan. Call in. Ask the New York fan if you're listening out there on
727-518-0820. The Big 8 Sports Talk Radio, Tampa, 820 WWBA.
Looks like we're going to a break.
Looks like we're going to go to a break and try to get Doc back on the line.
We did a brush back. We dropped him. I don't get it, but
that's okay.
We'll get that straightened
We'll
out.
have plenty to talk about. And like I said, Doc is beloved here in Tampa. And one of our Tampa natives, and we look forward to talking to him as soon as we come back from break.
We're in big trouble today, Jimmy. We're dropping Robin Delory and Doc Gooden.
Yes, the king and the cop. We'll be back.
Follow your bracket here.
All right, we're out.
Foul shots, 3-pointers, and buzzer beaters are heard here.
Down low, jump shot.
NCAA college basketball plays here. Your exclusive home for March Madness. 96.7 FM Tampa, 98.3 FM Pinellas, AM 820. The Big 8. Powered by SportsTalkFlorida.com.
A lawsuit is a devastating process for families. It can be an emotional roller coaster ride. There is a law firm in Tampa Bay that practices with this in mind. That law firm is Catania and Catania. We know and handle personal injury law for families with care. If it's an auto accident, medical malpractice, nursing home negligence, unsafe working conditions, or motorcycle accidents, the law firm of Catania and Catania will take care of the process worry-free from start to finish. Many victims don't even realize they can claim compensation for their loss until they talk to us. Catania and Catania only represent private individuals. We treat every case as if it's going to trial. Putting families first is more than just a slogan. It's our way of practicing law. It's our commitment to you. Remember, we don't get paid if you don't get paid. So go to CataniaCatania.com, award-winning, over 28 years, and family first. Catania Catania, personal injury, auto accident, and motorcycle accident attorneys.
Attorney spokeswoman.
What are you so happy about?
I'm on the pill.
Aren't you two a bit old to worry about having more kids?
Not her, me.
You lost me there, buddy.
Steelman pills. Things weren't always looking up, if you catch my drift. So my doctor prescribed me a little something.
Like Viagra?
Yeah, but that's expensive, and it wasn't covered by my insurance. Steelman pills cost me less than $3 a pill, and virtually the same effect. I just called and got over 40 pills for only $99.
I have this friend who might be looking and...
Well, if your friend wants some help, the consultation is free over the phone. No clinic. Steelman Pills sends it in the mail in a confidential package.
I'm on it. I mean, my friend will be on it.
Steelman Pills, going the extra mile to help men with erectile dysfunction.
800-748-6805. 800-748-6805. 800-748-6805. That's 800-748-6805.
Attention Medicare recipients and anyone turning 65. Medicare has approved new benefits not included with original Medicare and older Medicare Advantage plans. You may not be getting all of the benefits you're entitled to, including in-home aids, telephone appointments with your doctors, home-delivered meals and prescriptions. These benefits may be available, and it's a free call to enroll. The new plans may also offer free eyeglasses, free hearing aids, free wellness visits, and gym memberships. Call the Medicare benefits line now. It's easy. Call 800-437-7740. 800-437-7740. Find out if you're eligible for new benefits like meal and prescription delivery, in-home aids, and telemedicine. Some plans may have a $0 monthly premium or zero copays for big out-of-pocket savings. Not all Medicare Advantage plans are alike. The new plans have more benefits for many people. Call 800-437-7740. 800-437-7740. 800-437-7740.
The King and the Cop continues. Let's get back to the show. It's Tommy, Jimmy, and Robin.
What are you talking about?
Welcome back to the King and the Cop. To our listeners, sorry we're waiting. We're having a little difficulty on our side with Doc, and hopefully we'll have him real soon. I don't know. Maybe it's the Russians. What do you think, Jimmy? I mean, I don't understand.
They're hacking our show.
Yeah, they're hacking our show. Man, we're day 3 into our show, and the Russians are coming after us. I guess we're too popular. But hopefully we'll have Doc on soon.
Yeah, Tommy, I'm just looking through some of his Wikipedia stuff with Doc, and I've known the guy for years. I didn't realize that he made the jump from high A ball directly to the major leagues. Didn't even go to AA or AAA. And
19?
He was 19 years old.
Yeah, I remember
that. And back then, I was like, I remember this. Back then, they measured the ball crossing the plate. And Doc Gooden was clocked at 98 miles an hour, which in today's game would be probably 103 to 105.
Amazing.
And
how about Uncle Charlie?
Yeah. And, what I would like to ask Doc, because I've really never asked him because I didn't play with him when he was playing as much. I played with him in 96. That was about it. And whether he ever had arm trouble. Whether he ever had...
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't remember it.
I don't remember ever hearing that he had problems. I'm reading his Wikipedia page. It doesn't say anything on there.
I think I remember once like a tired arm, but nothing crazy.
Yeah. I mean, tired arm is, that Coney used to say, yeah, I got a tired arm. I just had to drop down a little bit and throw it a little bit different.
Coney. came off an aneurysm and almost threw a no-hitter out in Oakland.
That was people always ask me about that '96 year and certain things that had happened and I tell everybody that was the turning point.
Yep.
Because he gave us so much confidence about him coming back from that surgery, and how well he did. It just gave the whole team another lift.
So it's that year had so many big moments for the Yankees, and there's no secret after that why you went off on a run like you did, because you had such great guys with I'll say it, balls. You guys just stuck it out and you worked through it, and especially coming off of '95, which was that was a bad taste in your mouth, correct?
Well, and I'm shocked that the Yankees or whoever it is have not done more stories about that '96 team, because I think that's a 30 for 30 '96 team, because you've got Joe Torre's brother getting a heart 4 days before the World Series. You've got Wade Boggs winning his first World Series. You have Doc Gooden and Darryl Strawberry coming back from all their issues. David Cohen's aneurysm, like you just mentioned. There were so many great stories, and it was one of the few teams that when we talk about 25 guys, needing 25 guys, everybody on that team was important at some point in helping us win that World Series that year. And there was even a few more players. But, for me, I just keep thinking back on, wow, why hasn't that team?
Yeah, why isn't it celebrated more?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, if they fail to continue to go to the World Series, they're going to have to put those kind of stories back up. And I'm not picking on the Yankees, but you get spoiled as a Yankee fan. They haven't won since 2009.
2009, yeah.
Yeah, and beat the Phillies. And, you just wonder, it's not from a lack of trying, but it's to your point, the chemistry on the '96 team and the different personalities on that team all click. So doesn't matter that you have 5 or 6 guys that are all-stars on a team. Sometimes you need the chemistry inside the clubhouse and between the chalk, and you guys had it.
Yep.
And you had a lot of great leaders, and of course maybe one of the greatest leaders the team that ever witnessed was a rookie by the name of Derek Jeter, and he went on to carry the team for the next 20 years almost. So
and the great thing about it is when you look at those teams, and everybody talks about it, even Ken Burns, who's a huge Boston Red Sox fan, he hates having to talk about the Yankees when he does some of these specials that he's doing. And he said those late '90 Yankees, he said, even as a Red Sox fan, I cannot be. There's no hate there. I did not.
Well, it was a bunch of guys you could have rooted for.
Exactly.
Even the Met fans, sometimes they crossed over and they even said that they can root for guys like that. I find that, by the way, I give the Met fans a hard time because I grew up in New Jersey, New York area. But I rooted for Met teams. I rooted, David Wright, Pete Alfonso. I root for Met guys. I root for them to do the right thing. And now that Buck's there, of course, he's a friend of yours and we're rooting for him. But baseball, good baseball is what you really want to see as a fan, and we're gonna. I think we're starting to see that on every team. I think the Dodgers have now taken the role as the hired gun. Let's hire whoever we can and try to win the World Series. It used to be the Yankees,
All right. Well, wait a minute. I think we have to replay our clip right now. Play that clip for me, please. There you go. Our next guest, everybody, is a former New York Met, New York Yankee, Cleveland Indian, Houston Astro, Tampa Bay Devil Ray, New York Yankee again. He's a 4-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champion in '86 and 2000 with the Mets and the Yankees, NL Cy Young Award winner, Triple Crown winner, NL Rookie of the Year in 1984, Silver Slugger Award. Wait, what? Silver Slugger? Doc, I didn't know that stuff about you.
Oh, 8. I got 8 big league home runs.
That's something I just learned as I spoke it. And then, of course, Doc, that was your no-hitter from 1996, and of course, I was part of that game.
You forgot one thing.
What's that?
He was my right arm at the Newark Bears too.
And he was the right arm at the Newark Bears. Doc, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me. Two of my favorite guys, man. It's good to be on with you guys. Everything's going well. I'm glad baseball is starting up. I'm actually watching. I'm so desperate about baseball, and a lot of guys don't understand how I still love baseball, but it's just in my genes. I love it. I'm actually watching the Atlanta Braves playing right now. They're playing the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm watching that game on MLB Network. I watch anything, man.
Exactly. We've been away from baseball long enough. Those of us who still love the game and love everything about it, it's something to be watching. I'm down here in spring training with Tommy, and we went over to the Yankees Toronto game yesterday in Dunedin. And I told Tommy when I walked in, I'm like, man, I hadn't been back since COVID, and I'm like, man, I miss baseball, and I'm glad to be back.
I don't know about you, Jim, especially around this time of year when spring training is starting back up. That's when I really started getting the itch, man. It don't matter how long you've been away. It's just like something about when spring training is starting, like spring training and opening day. Those are 2 days that really hit me when I really miss it.
Oh, yeah. Well, spring.
You actually feel a fan, but those 2 days, it always brings like nothing but great memories, and that's when you miss it. I miss it.
Well, and the one thing I was telling Tommy yesterday, we're watching the Yankee players that are coming in, and they're on the road, so they got a lot of the young kids coming. And I'm looking at these kids, Doc, and I'm going, that kid doesn't even look like he can shave yet. I mean, these kids were just young kids, and it's just fun to see them. They still got that passion. They're out there to play hard, and it was great to see.
But Doc, on that note, Jimmy just read to me something, and I knew this and recalled this. You were in the big leagues at 19 years old.
Yes.
Talk about not shaving and throwing 98 and being thrown right into the middle of New York City. What was that like for you?
Oh, yeah, I still really can't grow facial hair. But the thing is, 19, a lot of credit goes to Davey Johnson because the year before I was in A-Ball, and I got called to AAA for the playoffs in World Series, and Davey Johnson was the manager of the Norfolk Tides. And I pitched well. I won the championship game for him in the playoffs, and then the World Series, I won the game. I think it was Game 5. He said wherever he managed the following year, he's taking me with him. So I was just thinking, I'm like, wow, at least I'll be in AAA, Unfortunately, George Bamber resigned, and Davey Johnson got the job. And I was in the instruction league then in the winter of '83, and Davey came down and just jokingly, I said, Davey, remember what you told me? You said you take one. He goes, oh, yeah, don't worry about it. You come into spring training. So sure enough, I got invited to spring training as a non-roster player. And every spring training game I would pitch, after the game, the media would come to my locker and say, well, you pitch well, but the front office say you're probably going to AA or AAA because of your age. So me, like a little kid, I would run in Davey's office after I talked to the media. I would say, they say, well, I'm going to AA or AAA. He goes, let them talk. Don't worry about it. You're going to make the team. Just keep it between me and you. You're going to make the team. And sure enough, the last day of spring training, Davey came up to me and said, congratulations, you made the team.
Wow.
And I was so excited and so thrilled because now I was playing against guys who I used to analyze, and I remember getting Pete Rose autograph when I was a kid, and now I'm going to be facing Pete Rose because growing up in Tampa, Cincinnati Reds had spring training in Tampa, and my dad used to take me to all the spring training games. So Pete was my guy, and I remember facing Pete like 10 years later after getting his autograph. It was a definite dream come true. And it probably took me probably until the All-Star break, I first should have realized that I actually belong in the big leagues because before that I wasn't sure, I was kind of up and down. But once I got to the All-Star game, I made the All-Star game, had a little success, that's when I felt like I belonged.
Well, that's what I was just reading, and I'm like, wait a minute. He got called up, and then all of a sudden on July 10th, 1984, you come in the game at the All-Star game as the youngest pitcher to ever pitch in an All-Star game. And what do? You strike out Lance Parrish, Chet Lemon, and Alvin Davis, some pretty big hitters.
Yeah.
Doc, I remember when we were sitting around at the Bears one, and Ron Karkovice, great defensive catcher for the White Sox, says to me, TC, Doc and I faced each other in Florida in high school in a championship game.
Yeah, they beat us.
Right.
They beat us. They had him and what's the guy? I forgot his name. He used to be the general manager for the Cleveland. I was there.
John Hart.
John Hart. Yeah, John Hart was the manager of that team.
Right.
And they had Oliver, who used to catch for the Reds. He was on that team also. They had Karkovice. I forget the other guy, but Karkovice was a stud. That was my junior year, and they beat us for the state championship, 1-0.
So he used to.
This guy, Vance Lovelace, who was not as a scout for the Dodgers, but Vance Lovelace was like a 6'5" lefty. He was the #1 pick for the Cubs and was traded in the Ron Say deal back in, I want to say, 83, 84.
So,
but that
so
game was
Jimmy,
something.
Carco used to kid around because Carco was pitching that he beat the great Doc Gooden. I said, how'd that work out for you? He said, well, 2 years later, he was in the big leagues, and I was still struggling through rookie ball and stuff.
All right, Doc. So,
Carco Vice was one of the, no offense, Jimmy, but Carco Vice was one of the fastest catchers running I've ever seen.
yes, he was. Yes, he was. No offense taken, dude. Don't worry. I always tell people I didn't have to hit it. I didn't have to run very fast when I hit the home run.
That's right. You could try.
That's it.
A lot of tries. You got a lot of big hits, a lot of big home runs. That's for sure.
So we were talking, Doc, Tommy and I last night. We were just like, what kind of questions can we talk to Doc about? What kind of, and one thing we kept saying is probably one of the most dominating single seasons in pitching in baseball in 1985, your second year, or your first full year, your second year, I mean. You had 24 wins, 268 strikeouts, a 1.53 ERA during the live ball era, which the only other pitcher that had, better than that was Bob Gibson's 1.12 in 1968. What was that season like, and how did what were you doing then? And I always ask Tommy. I said, I never asked Doc, did you ever get a sore arm?
Oh no, I never had a sore arm. I was very lucky with that. My dad taught me my mechanics at a very young age. And I don't know where my dad learned all this baseball knowledge from, and that's one thing I regret. I never found out before he passed away, because he taught me all about pitching at a very, very young age. And the same with my nephew, Gary Sheffield. We grew up in the same house. He's my sister's son. He taught him about hitting. How he knew he was going to be a hitter, I was going to pitch, I have no idea. But he taught me my mechanics at young age. I never used ice until, I had surgery in 92. Then I started using ice. But, 85, that season, man, I tell you, it was, I think after 84, I got more experience, felt like I belonged. My body started throwing a little bit more. I was getting older. I was turning 20. But, having Gary Carter catching me helped a lot. Gary was a veteran catcher. He knew the league. He knew the hitters. Very experienced guy. And with me having experience getting stronger, it's just like, it felt like every game I was just totally locked in. I think after about my 8th and 9th start, I knew it was more than just a game, because there was more media at my starts. Every game was sold out at home at Shea Stadium. And the fans, they wanted the 10 strikeouts. They wanted a complete game. They wanted a shutout, all this stuff. And it was pressure to do it, but I accepted the challenge every game. And a lot of credit to Mel Stoudemire, because between starts, he would challenge me to continue to work on things and continue to get better, so I wouldn't just settle and be happy with where I was at the time. So the whole year was definitely, it was draining and stressful, but it was a big challenge, and the fans at Shea Stadium played a big part of that. The energy and electricity they brought to that stadium every single start was unbelievable. But it was just one of those years, man, where it just felt like every game I was totally locked in, and I felt like I can throw, curveball is my pitch. I can change speeds my curveball. I can locate my curveball. That was my big pitch, and it just felt like one of those years where you just totally locked in every game.
And I remember, Doc, when you went on the road, you should have got part of the gate, because those teams that would maybe get 20,000 people were getting 45,000 just to come watch you pitch.
Yeah, you're right. And, it's funny. 2 years later, I lost an arbitration. I won, not to bring it up, but it's like a sour feeling where you win 15 games, you miss 2 months, and then you got to take a $100,000 pay cut.
Unbelievable.
Well, and nothing sour. Okay, Doc, let's move ahead to the 1986 season, where you were 17-6, and it was the year that you guys finally got the monkey off your back and you won that World Series.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that was great, man. The thing is, we came so close in '85, where it was only the 2 divisions, won 98 games, and had to go home. And I remember going into spring training in '86. Well, normally in spring training you have the general manager talks, the manager talks, he introduces the staff, the training staff, everybody. But that spring, David Johnson just said, look, guys, we only got one goal, and that's to win the World Series. Let's go play ball. He was the only voice that spring. And our whole goal was just to go out, and everybody played together. A lot of guys put the Eagles aside. We had guys that probably could have been playing every day, like the Howard Johnson, Kevin Mitchell, Tim Toffel, Danny Heat. These guys probably could have been playing every day for the teams, but everybody had one common goal. And we actually clinched our division with a month to go, but nobody shut it down. Everybody continued to work hard and play, and then they go in there and win it. And then what we had to go through with Houston, that Game 6 against the Astros, a lot of people forget because of, excuse me, a lot of people forget Game 6 in the playoffs against Houston because of what happened in Game 6 in the World Series. But we had to win Game 6. I think it ended up going like 16 innings, but we had to win that because we wanted no part of Mike Scott. in
Right.
'87. So we had to win that, and then obviously the famous Mookie Wilson ground ball to Buckner, Game 6 World Series. The way we won that is just unbelievable, and it's a lot of fun, and I was just happy to be a part of it.
You know, Doc, real quick, we're going to go to break in a minute, and I'm not sure if you can hold on for after break, but we could catch you another time if not. But
Can you join us for another segment?
Yes.
All right, good. But before you go, I want you to think about this question. How do you have that success 85, 86, and then 10 years later, you're still relevant and you throw a no-hitter? When we come back, let's talk about that. The great Doc Gooden is on the phone with us. Tommy Sentner, Jimmy Leyritz.
The King and the Cop, 8:20 a.m., WWBA, the Big 8, Sports Talk, Florida. We'll be back.
Don't drop our guy.
All right, Doc's still on the line. We got him.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Dan Byer.
Tyreek Hill is now a member of the Miami Dolphins, traded today by the Chiefs to Miami after the Chiefs and Hill could not come to terms on a contract extension. Hill gets a new one with the Dolphins, highest paid receiver in the league, 4 years, $120 million for Hill, with $72 million guaranteed, according to the NFL Network. Now, as for what Kansas City is getting in return by trading Hill to Miami, well, the Dolphins gave up a first-round pick this year, a second-round pick this year, and a fourth-rounder this year, in addition to fourth- and sixth-rounders next year. Cornerback Malcolm Butler is back in New England. He has signed a 2-year deal to return to the Patriots, while the trainer for quarterback Colin Kaepernick told TMZ that 5 NFL teams reached out to him to ask about his client. LeBron James is out tonight for the Lakers against the 76ers with a sore knee. A sore knee will keep Ja Morant out for the Grizzlies against Brooklyn tonight, while the Denver Nuggets have given head coach Michael Malone a multi-year extension, according to ESPN.
This is the Big 8.
Sports, information, and entertainment.
This is AM 820 WWBA Largo and AM 1060 WIXC Titusville.
Do you despise lawyers? That may be the case until you need one. If you've been in an auto accident and need legal advice, go to the local attorneys that have served Tampa Bay families for over 28 years. Catania and Catania. They are family-owned. They understand your needs with legal advice. When you need legal representation, Catania will care for your case from the beginning to final settlement. You won't need to worry. Catania will represent you throughout the entire process. Auto and motorcycle accidents are too frequent in Florida. If you've been a victim, contact Catania. They don't get paid if you don't get paid. Referrals on request. Contact Catania, putting families first.
Offices Tampa, non-attorney spokesperson.
Are you paying too much for your health insurance? Are your deductibles too high? Or are you completely uninsured? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Healthcare Help Desk can help you now when people need help the most. Health insurance laws and rules have changed. If you have Obamacare, are uninsured, or your premiums are too high, call Healthcare Help Desk. It's free. New healthcare plans are available, and you may qualify for dental coverage and lower copays and deductibles. Make the free call now. Top quality coverage at the lowest prices anywhere. You may be paying too much and not even know it. In these troubled times, healthcare is more important than ever. Don't let another day go by without health insurance. Policies are being offered with very low copays and deductibles. So if you're uninsured, underinsured, or paying too much, call Healthcare Help Desk.
800-940-8099. 800-940-8099. 800-940-8099.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-466-9625. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-466-9625.
Frank's Red Hot is the perfect blend of flavor and heat. That's why you can use an entire bottle to make buffalo chicken dip, the kind you might make for when you're watching the game at home. And maybe this year there's less people around to watch the game with.
15 seconds till the open, and then we
But
go back
that just
up the
means
top.
there's more dip, and it's all for you. Some of you may say, that's too much dip. But deep down in your heart of hearts, you know it isn't. So go ahead. Finish it. Frank's Red Hot don't judge. Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything.
Now, back to the show. The King of the Cop continues.
Welcome back to 820 WWBA, the Big 8 South Florida Sports Talk. Remember, 727-518-0820. Please call in. We have, as we were just talking in our last segment, Doc Gooden still on the phone. And Doc, we were just talking about the 1986 Mets and the championship year. One of the things that Tommy and I, we were just talking about, 30 for 30s. The 30 for 30 and that 1986 Mets. Tell me a little bit about what you thought about that.
The 96 season?
The 1986 30 for 30 on you guys, yeah.
Oh, 1986. I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought it was great. Got to relive a lot of that moments. I didn't realize how crazy it was back then. The thing that was funny, we got labeled as a wild, crazy guys, which we was, but at that time, everybody was crazy. I mean, that's what was going on in the 80s in New York, just part of it, but we've had a lot of success. But it was good to see that and reminisce on that and see how the city was involved and behind us. We really connected well with our fans. That was great. And it was great guys. I'm glad a lot of those guys are still around and doing well. So I thought it was great to do it and to reminisce that, especially for the fans and my grandkids and my younger kids got to see it because they only heard different things about what I did, and so they got to actually see it and understand a little bit better of what I went through off the field and on the field. I thought it was great. Good timing for it.
And then I just told Tommy, too, I said, it's crazy because 1986, and then you fast forward 10 years, and you signed with the New York Yankees in 1996, and I got to be your teammate. And Tommy's like, were you there for Doc's no-hitter? I said, as a matter of fact, I knocked in a run, and I carried him off the field. So tell us about what it was like, Doc, to throw that no-hitter against a team like Seattle that was some great hitters.
Yeah, to me, they had the best hitting team in baseball. And it's funny. I don't know if I told you, Jimmy. In '95, I was at home because I was suspended. I was watching when y'all played Seattle in the playoffs. I was actually rooting for Seattle to beat Jack McDowell because I wanted that spot.
Blackjack.
Blackjack. And so, because I had I had been talking with Ray Negron, who worked with the Yankees, and he was on the George Steinbrenner. We had been talking a little bit. So when the suspension was up, I really wanted to go back to the Mets because I wanted to make it right with the fans. Unfortunately, the Mets said they want to cut ties, which I understood. And Mr. Steinbrenner gave me an opportunity to stay in New York and finish my career. And it's funny because when I signed with the Yankees, George told me, he goes, stay out of trouble and throw the ball when you can throw it, you'll be just fine. Unfortunately, I started year 0-3, and they took me out of the rotation. They basically benched me. And when a pitcher gets benched, that means you're not getting the game if you're up 10 or you're down 10. So Torrey, they basically were trying to decide whether to send me down to the minors or release me. Unfortunately, David Cone got the aneurysm in his arm, and George, the only guy, said, put him back in the rotation, give him another shot.
Yep.
They put me back into the rotation, and I think my fourth start back into the rotation was the no-hitter against Seattle. And like Jimmy mentioned, to me at that time, the Mariners had the best hitting team in baseball. I mean, they was loaded. And going into that game, I was actually supposed to go home and be with my father, who was having open heart surgery the next day. He had been on dialysis for 15 years, and his health was deteriorating. So he had that open heart surgery, and I had my ticket to go home. But that morning, I thought to myself that he would probably want me to pitch. So I called Joe Torre and Mel Salamar, who was the pitching coach, told him I was coming in to pitch. I'll go home the next day. They said, no, go home, be with your father. When you're ready, you come back. I said, no, I'll see you guys tonight at the ballpark. And then I called my mom, and she said, no, you have to come home. Your dad's expecting you. The family's here. We need your support. You have to come home. I actually hung the phone up on my mom because I was just feeling real bad that I wasn't going home.
Right.
And I remember the course of that game, like the first 3 innings, I was standing in a walkway between the clubhouse and the dugout, kind of tearing up, wondering if I made the right decision. My dad's going to be okay. So not till probably like the 6th inning when I realized I had a no-hitter, I looked at the scoreboard, and you see, I was looking to see what was coming up the next inning, and you see no runs, no hits, no errors. And that's when your heart starts beating a little faster, and you get more excited. So I did put my dad's situation aside and just kind of focus on the game. And going through that game, it was some obviously some big plays made in that game. But I remember the last pitch I threw to Paul Sorrento. There was a hanging curveball. I mean, basically, he popped it up for the last out. And like Jimmy said, when they're carrying me off the field, all I can think about was where I was the previous year when I was suspended, not knowing if I ever play again. My dad gonna be okay? Was I gonna get released? All these different things going through my mind as my teammates are carrying me off the field, and I'm pumping my fist. And the next morning, I took a ball from the game to fly home. You can go to the hospital to get to my dad. He had the surgery. He was on life support. Like, he never made it home from the hospital. He ended up passing away, but the last game he saw me pitch was a no-hitter, and that's what made it even that much special, besides the fact that my teammates was carrying me off the field because they knew what I had went through earlier that year, and they knew what I went through the previous year. It's just that type of love and support. It meant a lot, and it always will mean a lot.
You know what, Doc? We've been talking a lot about money, how much during the strike, how much money people are playing. There's a story that I've never heard before, and that's an amazing story. And people realize that you guys are human beings, and you just knocked off 3 different things that were life-changing in your life, and you still carried yourself out on the field and, through a no-hitter, which is amazing, and that just shows the world-class athlete that you were. And by the way, we're in Tampa, and I hear that you started playing Little League baseball in Belmont Heights. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a grandson actually playing there now, and they named the field after me at Belmont Heights, and one of the fields after me and one of the fields after Sheffield. But it's crazy, man. It's a great honor. I started playing there in the inner city, and now I have a grandson playing there. So it's amazing how time goes.
It's amazing. Your and everybody's doing well in your family. I see your different posts, and I believe do you have a son playing football?
Yeah, I got a son, Dylan Gooden, playing football. He's in Maryland for my second wife. To me, he's a perfect size for a pitcher. He's 6'6", 220, but he loves football and basketball, but he's got a lot of offers for football. We're actually going to visit University of Miami and LSU next month. We were at USC last month, so he's doing well.
Good for him.
Well, he's got to keep him focused because he's starting to fill himself with these girls now. But if he stays focused, I think he has a chance.
That's
so
great. That's great. Are you still in New Jersey or?
I'm in New York now. I'm in Long Island. I'm in Glen Cove. I'm back over here now.
Okay,
I've been
good.
here for like a year.
So Doc,
I still get in New Jersey from time to time.
we've got Yankees Red Sox opening series. Am I going to see you at the field?
I hope so. I haven't talked to anybody yet, but I'd like to be there. I think more than likely I will be there. Looking forward to it. It's always good to see you at the ballpark, Jimmy.
Yes, I can't wait to see you guys again. It's been a while.
Sure.
Yeah.
And before we let you go, what are you thinking about the new Mets ownership and how's that going?
I think it's great. I'm glad they brought back Old Timers Day. I think it's great for the fans. The thing I like about the owner, he's really into the fans and getting the fans back involved. He's getting the alumni back involved. With the Old Timers Day coming back, he's starting to bring the guys back around spring training. A lot of stuff we're doing at the ballpark now. So I think it's great. No offense with the Wilpons, but I think with the new ownership, they're getting more involved with the alumni, and I think it's great for the retired players, and it's great for the fans, great for the players now to get to, ask questions and see what it's like, whatever. I think it's a great time, and the ballpark, the ball team looks good. If they stay healthy, I think they got a chance this year. But the key is being healthy, so should be a lot of excitement for both New York teams this year.
Well, Doc, listen, I appreciate you joining us today, man. Great stories. I tell you all the time I see you, man. I love you, brother, and thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you this season, man.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you guys for having me, man. You guys keep up the good work, and I'm welcome to come on anytime.
Thanks, Doc.
Thank you as well, Tom.
Thanks,
Love
Doug's
you
pal.
All right, brother.
Man.
God bless, man.
Doc Gooden, the great Doc Gooden. Man, oh man, Jimmy, let me tell you, I will not mean this the way it sounds, but what he could have been, because he was great. He was just great. Doesn't matter. He'll be remembered as one of the greatest pitchers. And as a spoiled fan, you just wish he pitched for 10, 15, 20 years, like one of those type of players. But great guy. Again, I'm listening to him, and what's the first thing he does? He talks about the Mets not wanting him back, and they wanted to move on. What does he do? He takes responsibility. One thing about Doc, he always took responsibility. He never blamed anybody else, never blamed the substance, never blamed, no, that's on me. Fought his way back. And, man, I root for Doc Gooden. I really do. I'm still rooting for him, and I think he's doing great.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the things that makes him so humble and so likable is that he doesn't blame other people. He doesn't blame other circumstances. He says, listen, this is my battle. This is my thing. And, I don't care what anybody says. I loved playing with him. He was one of my favorite teammates. One of the guys that you rooted for. And the best thing about it is, it's now the afterlife, the after baseball life. We all remember our great careers. We all remember our home runs, our World Series championships, but we realize that that's not what defines us.
No.
And what really defines us is what we do. And you see his kids are being successful. They're playing sports. They're doing, going to colleges. Those are the most important things. And he's around for those times. And, he's just, like I said, it's a battle. Addiction is a battle.
Yep.
But man, this guy fights harder than anybody I know.
No, he's the gold medal winner when it comes to that. He battles, he tries, he gets through it. If he slips, he gets back up and he does it again. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm honored that I have a friendship with him, and I know you're a teammate and more of a friend. But
and I love the way that he just says, this is I missed the game. I missed just watching the game.
Excited. He's sitting there at home watching the spring training game from home.
And then these other guys, these other guys who haven't gone through some of the things that he's gone through, they're like, oh, I can't stand to watch this game. It's changed so much, and it's different. The bottom line, it's still baseball. And
he could have easily quit on himself and quit on everything. So we got a caller on line one, JC from Sunset on line one. JC, how you doing?
Back as a rookie, that's how old I am, 75. And I'll tell you what, how great it was to hear Doc sound so great.
Yes.
Because he was my young idol, and he's 40 now. I took him over to Miami to see Doc pitch. He got rocked that day, but he did hit a home run. But I'm wondering who would throw close to Doc Gooden if he's going to go pitch against you in the next inning.
That's right. He knew he was getting something right over the plate, right? I said he knew he was getting something over the plate because nobody was brushing him back because they didn't want 98, 100 under their chin when they got up.
Yeah.
But it's so good to hear him sounding so great and everything. I've read everything. I know everything went on back then. But it was great. Him and Carter, I love Carter. And
he's sorely missed.
It was just unbelievable.
Yeah, sorely missed. All
right, Jim. Good to hear from you. See ya.
No, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for calling in, JC. Appreciate it. So, this is exactly, Jimmy, what we're talking about. No matter how old we all get, the 75-year-old man calling in and telling you that his experience with Doc Gooden, he misses him and rooting for him. And, that's just the man that Doc is. I don't know that I've ever heard anybody root against Doc Gooden, and that's the truth.
And just remember, 727-518-0820. You guys can call in right now. We can take calls all the way up till 6 o'clock before Tommy and I head out of here and we go watch the Yankees play the Baltimore Orioles night game. So looking forward to going to that game tonight again. First time I've been back in Tampa Stadium since before COVID hit in March of 2020. And looking forward to seeing the game tonight.
Me too. That'll be fun.
And that'll be a thing. But
speaking out at the field, how you doing, Robin Deloria? Are you listening? Are you out there at the varsity baseball game?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I sure can, Harold.
Any news to report? Do we have any prospects there?
I mean, it's a hard act to follow, Doc Gooden, but if anybody could do it, America's Jersey's favorite girl can. Go ahead.
No, seriously, that was really wonderful. And, here's the deal. You don't have to understand the game to understand how beautiful that just was on so many levels.
Yeah,
the legacy, the story. I got choked up when he was talking about his dad, and he didn't know if he made the right decision. And then I was thinking about how when he was pitching the no-hitter, his mind was like all over the place probably because of, his family problems at home with his father's health. And, isn't that the way things just always kind of happen when you're not thinking about it so much, And I don't know why I thought about it like that.
No, you're right. You're 100% right. I mean, it's hard enough to focus on who's at bat and what you're doing. Jimmy could speak to that, but for this guy to have weighing on him that his father possibly pass away before the game even goes on, and then the demons that he was suspended the year before, I mean,
the kicker. I mean, the thing that really just like automatic tear to my eye. It was the last game his father saw.
Yeah, it's hard.
I wasn't expecting that.
No, me either. Real quick,
that was beautiful.
How's your king doing? What's going on today?
He's up right now, and you don't want me to do the announcing because I don't really know how to explain it. So he just swung the bat like he was like a golf club. And now he's winding up.
All right.
And I don't know how to say it. But I know, no, that was too high. That was ball. That was a ball.
All right, John Sterling.
Okay.
We don't need the play-by-play. We're going to break in
We'll
a minute.
catch up later with that tonight.
Yeah. We're going to have Donnie DeLuca on in the next few minutes, talk about the situation down in Miami Beach during spring break. We're going
But I did have something to say.
Go ahead, real quick. We're going to break.
Oh, you're going to break?
Yeah, but go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yep, you got 30
I just wanted
seconds.
to
30
say
seconds.
About the jock guy. You know, at the beginning of the show, you guys were talking about
Jock Peterson.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was wondering how somebody could name their child Jock, because you're automatically like bringing a baby into this world.
He's Australian.
Like, you know, with an
He's Australian.
oh well, still, but he, you know, it's like an uphill battle from there.
Yeah.
And it reminded me that Michael was going to be named End Zone Philippine.
Oh,
you
take
go.
it easy. Slow
All right,
down.
all
Slow
right.
down.
We have to go to break, Robin. This
It's a
is the
base-
King and the Cop on 820 WBA. WWBA Big 8, South Florida Sports Talk. We'll be back.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Dan Byer.
Tyreek Hill is now a member of the Miami Dolphins. The Chiefs traded the wide receiver to Miami today, and in return, the Dolphins gave Kansas City a first-round pick, a second-round pick, and a fourth-round pick in this year's draft, plus a fourth and sixth-rounder in 2023. Hill and the Chiefs could not come to terms on a long-term contract, so they shipped him to Miami, where the Dolphins then gave him a 4-year extension worth $120 million. And reports say that includes more than $72 million guaranteed. Jets were another team that was interested in Tyreek Hill's services, but reports say the Jets were not willing to offer a first-round pick as part of the deal and instead offered 2 second-rounders and a third-rounder. Who's going to replace Tyreek Hill in Kansas City? Well, the Chiefs are meeting with free agent wide receiver Marquez Valdes-Scantling today. Malcolm Butler's back in New England on a 2-year deal, while Lakers forward LeBron James out tonight against the Sixers with a sore knee. John Morant to miss the Grizzlies game against the Nets with his sore knee.
This is the Big 8.
Sports, news, information, and entertainment.
820 WWBA. The Big 8.
Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Lang, board-certified doctor and host of popular talk show Ask the Doctor. I have researched and developed several nutritional products to keep you healthy and happy. I want to talk about Fortify Focus. It was developed for reviving, rejuvenating, and protecting your eyes. Did you know that computers, smartphone, television, indoor lighting emit damaging blue light that can harm your eyes? These digital screens also produce an enormous amount of eye strain and visual fatigue. I have good news. Fortify Focus is a combination of clinically studied nutrients proven to reduce eye fatigue and strain from prolonged screen time. Fortify Focus also protects against the damaging blue light emitted from digital screens. Learn more and order at fortify.com. I'm giving 25% discount with promo code RADIO. Go to fortify.com. That's FORTIFEYE. Remember the EYE in Fortify. Fortify.com. Enter the code RADIO. You'll receive the 25% discount. I am Dr. Lang, and I am helping keep America fit and healthy during this time of precautionary change.
Hey, you ever wanted to get into the radio business, but no one is hiring? Well, if you'd like to give it a shot, we have entry-level openings right now. We'll teach you the basics of radio, and if you have what it takes, the sky's the limit. If you like talk radio, whether it's sports or news talk, email us today. Contact@newstalkflorida.com. That's contact@newstalkflorida.com. We have a lot of room for growth in both news talk and sports talk, so email us today. Contact@newstalkflorida.com.
There's a lot of boring radio stations to listen to in the morning, but we're not one of them. Bubba the Love Sponge, 6 to 10.
Our amount of listeners on AM 820 might freak people out.
Trust me, a lot of people are tuning in to 820.
Big 8.
The Big 8.
A portion of the upcoming broadcast is brought to you in part by
All
the
right,
law
10
firm of
seconds and I'm gonna
Catania
hit
and Catania, award-winning
the
personal
suite.
injury, auto, and
I'll hit the
motorcycle
Robin thing and then
accident
we'll go to you
attorneys, serving Tampa Bay families for over 28 years. Offices Tampa. King and the Cop. Okay, let's get back to the show.
What are they talking about?
Welcome back, everybody. The King and the Cop, 820 WWBA, the Big 8, South Florida Sports Talk, 727-518-0820. Please give us a call. Ask us a question. Our next segment, of course, since we are the King and the Cop, is our Cop segment. And of course, we want to talk a little bit about what's going on. We have Dom DeLuca coming up. As soon as we get him on the line, we'll bring him on to talk a little bit about what's going on down there in Miami Beach. And Tommy, man, if this quote doesn't scare you, I don't know what does. We can't endure this anymore. We just simply can't. This isn't your father's and your mother's spring break. This is something totally different.
It's
that's scary.
It's like gangster mentality. Are they taking over our neighborhoods and our cities? These gangs and shooting 5 people during a spring break.
Well,
it's just god awful.
And when Dom comes out, we'll talk to him a little bit about they just enacted a curfew.
Yeah, I see all that midnight.
between-
What's midnight do though, Jimmy? You can shoot people between 6 p.m. and midnight. You got to get it under control. When my buddy Don DeLuca was chief of Miami Beach, he wouldn't have tolerated this nonsense. I'm not criticizing the current chief. I just think yesterday we were hard on the cops, and they did something that they shouldn't have did, and nobody stopped it. And this is the flip side of the coin, where we're not doing enough.
Yep.
And, it's not all leaderships. You could have a great chief there right now, and Donnie will tell us. I'm sure he'll back the chief. But now the politicians want to get out there after it's done and say, we can't tolerate this anymore. Well, how about let's not wait for it to happen and just, not be – it's like I hear I don't even know what to believe in politicians anymore. I really don't, and a lot of them are my friends. But the bottom line is we always wait for something to happen. My father said this. Back in 1966, there was a bomb in the city of Newark, New Jersey. They had no equipment. He joked. He had a string, a pair of sneakers, and an extra pair of underwear. And this is a joke. Tied the string around the bomb, had the sneakers to run away when he pulled it, and you know why he needed the extra pair of underwear, because when it went off, you know what happened, right? He just basically had an accident in his pants. He survived. After that, they got all the bomb equipment they needed. Why do you wait?
Well,
why do we wait?
Yeah, and you talked a little bit, too, about, like you said yesterday, we talked about where the cops were wrong. I mean, we're in a different day and age, and unfortunately, I was reading the story right here, and it says 37 firearms were confiscated.
It's amazing.
When would... I used to go on spring break. I went to Pensacola, and I went to Fort Lauderdale Beach, and I did those.
You didn't have a gun on you, did you?
I never thought about bringing a gun somewhere there. And unfortunately, this is the day and the age that we are living in, and it's scary because, TC, I just last month I was at the Miami Boat Show, and my wife and my daughter flew down, and we were on this area of South Beach having dinner at 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, and it was. To know that we were in this same area, and now that spring break is official and there's more people down there, it's kind of scary. And like the mayor mentioned, this is not your parents and your family's spring break. This is something that they just weren't prepared for, and unfortunately, like you mentioned, it's one of those things that the knowing spring break was coming, knowing there was going to be an influx of people coming down because it's the first time these people have been allowed out during spring break, and everything's been kind of open again. You need to be prepared. You need to have everybody there ready to go. And unfortunately, I think this one falls on the people, not the police.
I agree, but and here's the extreme, right? Oh, COVID's over, so let's everybody go bat, crazy, and it backfired. And I don't know. I just. My daughter is at Fordham University, and she called me a couple weeks ago, and she goes, Dad, I'm going away for spring break. The first thing I wanted to do was throw up in my mouth, to be honest with you. And I'm all right, babe, where are you going? Oh, I'm going to Stella's, my roommates down in San Diego. We're going to stay with their parents at the house. Then we're going up to our other roommates in Sacramento, and then we're coming home to Jersey. It was the biggest relief. I couldn't pay for her air ticket fast enough. Just good, clean living. Go ahead, honey.
I have to weigh in there. My daughter's a sophomore at TCU.
Right.
Dad, Mom, I'm going to Cancun with my roommates for spring break. And, she lost her senior year. She lost her graduation. She lost her trip to Italy for her graduation present. And we kind of felt like, okay, we can't say no. But I will tell you, she was at a very nice resort, all-inclusive, so she didn't have to leave the resort. She calls us up and says, hey, there's a booze cruise that we all wanted, that we're thinking, and my wife and I, Michelle and I, looked at each other and said, absolutely not. We
Right.
told you that you could go to the resort, you could stay on the inclusive part of the resort, but this is their first opportunity for you to be something for you to happen to you, and it was an absolute no. But I will say this: praise report, she's back, and she had a great time. They had a great time when they were there, and she's back to TCU safe and sound. So
But to your point, Jimmy, this is not your mother and father's
spring break
anymore, and we got Donnie on the line. Don DeLuca, former chief of Miami Beach, former president of IACP, International Chiefs of Police, and one of my brother's good friends here. He's my brother. How you doing, Donnie?
Doing well, Tommy. An interesting conversation you guys are having there, I tell you.
Yeah. Donnie, me and you, we spent 3 years together as if we were in a radio car, myself and you and Mike Rothens. We traveled all over the country. We had our finger on the pulse of law enforcement. You still do. I'm a little bit out of it for a minute. And you're surely not going to criticize because that's your home, Miami Beach. That'll always be your home. But what happened? What's going on there? What's the feeling on the street down there? What's the real truth other than maybe fake news that we're reading? But it's still alarming to hear 5 people were shot.
No, listen, spring break isn't, 1 week, Tommy. It's almost 2 months in Miami Beach.
Right.
The cops are exhausted. They're working, 12, 14-hour days. They're getting held over. You go in for a 12-hour shift, and you're just overwhelmed with bodies from, South Beach to Mid Beach. And, it takes one stampede, and then it's chaos. I mean, I remember it vividly, and you did the best you could, but, now it's gotten violent over the last few years. I mean, the cops are doing yeoman's work. They're humping, but they're beyond exhausted. Miami Beach is an agency of just over 400 cops. Other agencies help them out. But I'm telling you, it's a difficult challenge, and we can't listen to people say they're not doing the job. The cops are doing their job. They're doing the best they can. But it's an overwhelming scenario. I mean, it's grown every year since I retired, and when I see pictures, I just cringe. I feel bad for the men and women out there.
Donnie, and I say this, and we're surely not standing here because I wore that uniform, and I know how exhausting it can be. On the other side of the flip side, the word violent for spring break is not your mom and dad's spring break, to your point. And
No. Listen,
it's just not.
They bring, there's guns down there, there's drugs down there. And listen, as soon as spring break ends, it's the Memorial Day weekend, it's July 4th. And, they do road restrictions. They try to create choke points. They check coolers going out. They do an incredible job. But, even if you threw another few hundred cops on, it's not the answer to people who don't want to play within the rules.
So what is the answer, Donnie? I mean, do you start putting National Guard in there because you don't want the economy to suffer down there? What's the answer? You can't allow this to go on. I mean,
the challenge is you got to take the fun out of just doing the wrong thing. I mean, people who break the law need to go to jail. You got to have enough enforcement early and often, and I know they do this, but you need to have the support of the city leadership, and they do. I mean, imagine South Beach, Miami Beach given a curfew. You got to give credit to the city manager stepping in.
Yep.
But they have to take a real look. On other events, they try to bring other, shows into town to try to maybe change the crowd to a little older group. But this is the hot spot, and it's going to be for a while unless something drastic changes.
Well, we're praying because it's another great city that, like Jimmy said, he was there a couple weeks ago with his family, and now you go, maybe not. Maybe I'm not going to go there. I just, and I was there a week ago, as you know, and I had a good time. I actually was taken through a tour of Key Biscayne and learned where Donnie DeLuca visits and the nice part. It's it's heaven over there. I mean, and then you hear stuff like this a couple miles away, and it saddens you.
So listen, all beautiful communities, Coral Gables, but right now this week we have Ultra Music Fest coming to City of Miami. 60,000 revelers in a park. I think it's multiple stages at one time. And one of my former assistant chiefs, who ended up becoming the chief of Miami Beach after me, Ray Martinez, runs that show. And it's like you have your fingers crossed. The city of Miami is going to be working their tails off this weekend, covering this event.
Amazing.
But, it's the perfect storm. A lot going on in South Florida.
Donnie, I'm just curious because coming from Florida, and especially during the Fort Lauderdale, strip days, one of the things that they were able to do, how legally are they allowed to enforce this curfew, and can they do it for the entire month?
Well, they can do it. Trust me, and they're going to do it. They put out the curfew. If you're not going out just getting off work, if you're going out to play, you're going to get cited or taken in. They have to treat it like it's the real deal. If not, find out what can they do different. I know they're trying. I know their hearts are in the right place. They got a great city manager over there, and I know the chief and the staff. I feel for them. I really do.
Well, they're in a damned if they do and damned if they don't situation, Donnie. We know that, and I pray for the safety of the guys and girls in uniform out there. Listen, on a lighter note, you could take a trip up to Tampa and come to spring train us. I know you're a huge Yankee fan.
Yeah, I'm going to get Jimmy Leyrich's autograph when I'm there.
There you go. We definitely could take care of that.
Yeah.
I know you'll take care of me. I love them Yankees. Matter of fact, they got a Untucked shirt with the New York label on it today.
Nice. Donnie, before I let you go, we talked, and I don't like to talk about our personal lives or our personal business that much, but we had a case yesterday that Mark Skeels called in, and a gentleman, Mark Fleming, the San Diego County had to pay out $85 million because 12 cops decided that it was okay to abuse a mentally health person who passed away in their custody. $85 million, the largest ever. A subject we're very familiar with, and I'm not going to get into we talked about Bola Rap yesterday. Mark brought it up, but the truth of the matter is that's another thing. Not only are the cities dealing with the spring breaks and the events that they're having, then they got to go and spend $85 million of money that could have went to more education for cops and more cops on the street. And I guess we got to do better training, as you and I have talked about for the last 4 years.
Hey, Tommy, this is going to be a conversation we'll have in the future. Good luck hiring cops in the future if this continues down this path.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know what's going to put people in uniform or have the desire. Miami Beach was the agency you left another agency to go to Miami Beach. Now, Miami Beach is losing officers to other agencies. So it's a challenging time, my friend.
Yeah. Well, stay safe, my brother. I know you're traveling a lot again, and I'll see you soon. And thanks for calling in. Always love the insight.
Thanks, Donnie.
Take care, Jimmy. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Don DeLuca, retired Miami Beach chief, really one of the most recognized leaders in law enforcement in our country, and traveled all over the world. And Donnie has a lot of experience in many ways, and even in the private sector now. But, that he's got his finger on his pulse. Like I said, these guys are exhausted. It's one thing that I missed. They're out there being told, you can't go home. You're going to work overtime. And by the way, we all know that I don't care who you are, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, you're getting tired. You're getting tired. Yeah. And at 2 o'clock in the morning, the people that are acting or misbehaving are just waking up and wanting to crank it up. So, it's a tough situation for all. But I do believe, and I'll stick by what I said, the politicians got to do a better job preparing for this. The politically correct world is not always the right thing to do. You got to protect the people and the residents that live there. And I think that's something they're not taking serious enough after the fact.
Exactly. They just decided to add 371 police officers extra, which, why didn't you do that before?
Exactly
that's
right.
Something that we need to. But again, like Donnie said, Miami Beach always hasn't been a spring break destination. It's all of a sudden starting to become that. And when you realize that you have to start preparing for that, then you need to be ready. So it's like you said, this is not your average spring break. These are people that are coming down to look to cause trouble, that are out of control.
But you made a good point, Jimmy. You know what you do if you prepare for it, like Fort Lauderdale did. They go somewhere else.
Yes.
You know, there was the old joke, let's move them to the next city. But I guess we all got to get on the same page. You're listening to Tommy
Just keep
Setner.
praying for him. Keep praying.
Absolutely. Jimmy Leyritz, Robin Delory on King and the Cop, 727-518-0820. Give us a call in our last half hour as we wrap it up and talk sports or talk entertainment or current events, whatever you would like. Sports Talk Florida, the Big 8. We're good.
Find the best coverage of Florida sports all in one place.
SportsTalkFlorida.com covers all the Florida teams you know and love with in-depth interviews, original coverage, and insight on the team that makes the news in Florida.
Show on Friday, this weekend is the Oscars. Dolphins,
Why not for the last segment Friday we do best sports movies? Covered.
Or any of our college teams, like the Knowles,
I said
Gators,
since this
Bulls,
weekend is the
Knights. You can
Oscars
find
for
it
the
all
final
at
segment of the show on
SportsTalkFlorida.com.
Friday.
Sports Talk Florida
we do best sports
covered.
movies.
SportsTalkFlorida.com.
I just figured something.
Some law firms
There you go. I just figured it'd be something
advertise
to throw
that
out
they are
for
the
Friday's
largest.
show. We can do best sports movies.
In law, largest is not always best. In fact, your case could get lost in the shuffle with one of those very large law firms. Catania are family-owned. They are Tampa Bay's attorneys representing clients who have experienced auto and motorcycle accidents. Your case will need a local attorney to get a settlement in your favor. Catania serving Tampa Bay families for over 28 years. Referrals on request. Get the local law firm to represent you. They don't get paid if you don't get paid. Catania, putting families first.
Car accident, motorcycle accident? Call the local attorneys today. Catania, offices Tampa. Non-attorney spokesperson.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? My name is Ron LeGrand, and over the past 40 years, I've bought over 3,000 houses without using my money or credit and taught thousands to do the same. Today, even in a virtual environment, we buy nice houses in nice neighborhoods using no banks, realtors, contractors, or other costly entanglements, and build huge cash flow and wealth without the hassle of tenants, all without credit and little or no money. You don't need a license or experience, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Text RON to 99799 and I'll send you my free training. I promise I'll change the way you think about real estate and open the door to a new lifestyle that doesn't involve risk or rehabs and can quickly replace your current income. Text RON to 99799 and let me show you how to take your life back and build cash flow and wealth from your home. That's RON to 99799. Again, text RON to 99799.
Do you love driving, but you hate your expensive car payment? Open Road Lending can reduce your current car payment by as much as $100 a month or more. Yes, it's easy to refinance your current car payment and save up to $100 a month. Could you use an extra $100 a month? Then make this call to Open Road Lending today to learn how you can lower your current car payment. It's easy, only takes a few minutes, and there's no cost or obligation to apply and get a
9417 800 871 9417. That's 800 871 9417. Call now. 800 871 9417. Terms and conditions apply. Financing is available with approved credit. See openroadlending.com for details.
It's time to get back to the show. The King and the Cop continues with Tommy, Jimmy, and Robin.
What are they talking about?
I'll tell you what we're talking about. Welcome back to the Big 8, 820 AM WWBA Sports Talk Florida. Call us 727-518-0820. What are we talking about? You can talk with us. We had the great Doc Gooden on today, and then we had the honor and pleasure of Donnie DeLuca, former retired chief down in Miami Beach, filling us in on a couple incidents down there. But, Jimmy, it's time for March Madness Eve. We're going to the game tonight, but first we got to talk a little bit about March Madness. 4 huge games out of the box tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow, Thursday, we have got Arkansas, Gonzaga. We got Michigan and Villanova. They have their first 2 games at 7 and 7:20. We got Texas Tech and Duke, and then Houston and Arizona, 9:30 and 9:59 to round out the first games, Thursday, Arkansas, Gonzaga. Who are you taking?
Gonzaga.
Yeah, I told you already in my pool, I got Gonzaga going all the way and winning this championship this year. So I need them to win because, unfortunately, my Kentucky team is out, and Auburn and Baylor, all the big 4 that were supposed to be there in the end,
got knocked out.
Yep, Gonzaga is one of the few left, and then we got Michigan, which is a surprise team at number 11 against Villanova. And what do you think about that one?
Well, here's what I'm going to say about this.
What's your bet?
We're flooded back home with Villanova fans to where I can't get them off of me. So I'm probably going to wear a Michigan shirt tomorrow. I'm rooting for them. I want Michigan.
Yeah.
Going Michigan.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm an Ohio State guy, and I can never root for Michigan in anything they do. So I'm going to have to take Villanova tomorrow.
All right.
And then, of course, prediction, Texas Tech, Duke.
Yeah, I'm with you, Coach K. I'm rooting sentimental reasons, but I also just love the man, the gentleman that he is. Always taught. He was a teacher. He was more than a coach. He was a teacher. So I'm rooting for Duke.
Yeah, Coach K is. I watched that final game at Duke, and to see the amount of players, not just the guys that turned pro and got to go on and live their dream, but all of the other guys that showed up that night that all talked about
class acts.
That they were just talking about what an effect he had on them as far as what they wanted to do after they left college basketball, and it was just such a great thing
hard to root against them.
Exactly. And then, of course, the final game that night, Thursday night, is Houston, Arizona. Who you picking, T?
I don't care.
Ooh.
I'll root for Arizona because I lived in Arizona for a couple years. My little Brett was from Arizona for a while. But truth of the matter is, by the time we get to that game, there's only one game to really think about. St. Peter's from New Jersey.
Okay, well, you got to wait till that. What can
well,
I get to that?
I hate
See,
surprises.
You're bringing them up way too early.
No, I don't think I am because I think they're going to steal everybody's thunder.
I know, but we're still on Thursday night.
All right, go ahead. Who do you want? Arizona. Or who?
Okay, you're taking Arizona. I've got Arizona in my pool, but I'm a kind of guy that's been watching this tournament pretty closely, and I think about our 96 Yankees is not supposed to beat the Braves.
Yeah.
This Houston team, they're riding some momentum right now.
That's fair, but that's not why you're rooting for them. Arizona beat TCU. That's why you're pissed.
That is true. That's a good point.
No, but you're right. Houston is really playing over their head right now.
Okay, then we get to Friday's games. And I'm not going to start
only one game on Friday.
I'm not starting with St. Pete because I know where you're going there.
I always thought there was one game.
We got Iowa State, 11th seed against 10-seeded Miami. That's a tough one to pick right there.
Yeah, I can't root for Miami. I'm rooting for Iowa State.
Yeah, and I'm going to go with Miami just because they're going through some hard times right now down there. I'm going to root for Miami to have something to cheer about. So
yeah,
well, I'll take Miami there. How about UNC, UCLA?
I'm a UCLA fan. You know, the tradition there, the John Wooden, the Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar years. Always grew up thought UCLA basketball was cool. I still root for them when they come on.
So last year, they made that big run last year to the Final Four, and during that entire time, their head coach is a guy named Mickey Cronin.
Yep.
And his father, they were showing the whole time because it was the first time his father had been able to come and follow the entire thing. His father, now TC, this is a little bit of, I'm sure you probably didn't know this.
Yeah, go ahead.
His father is a gentleman by the name of Hep Cronin, and they're both from Cincinnati, Ohio.
I did not know that.
Hep Cronin was a scout for the Atlanta Braves when Jim Leyritz was available to play, and it was supposed to be out of high school a number one pick for the Braves, and of course the story of I've told you before, I broke my foot and I wasn't able to be drafted, and they passed on me. Hep Cronin was the scout that decided that they didn't want to give me the extra $5,000 to sign him and Paul Schneider. And so when I saw Mickey Cronin and they showed Hep, I was like, oh, there's a story behind the story.
So you got to root against UCLA.
No, I'm actually rooting for them because I feel bad that Hep didn't sign me and didn't get all the credit. And again, thank God for Yankee history because I would have never been a New York Yankee. But I am going to go with UCLA because I am rooting for Mickey Cronin to be able to win.
Nice Irish family.
There you go. Now we got Providence and Kansas.
Well, I got to root for Providence. Mike Torres probably just fell out of a chair. Our good friend Mike, who played in the big leagues, a Kansas guy. But Kansas is a dominating basketball program also. But I got to love, I'm going to go with Providence. My daughter went to University of Rhode Island, loved the Providence area, and I'm rooting for Providence. They're a good basketball school.
And I'm going to go with Kansas just because.
Because they're the front runner.
And they're in my daughter's TC. They're in TCU's division, and I want
That's
the division to win.
That's fair.
All right, now we got to get to the big game.
There's another game?
The biggest game and the only game according to Tom
Wait,
Settner.
hold on. Delory, are you there?
Yes.
Did the St. Peter's sweatshirt come to the house yet so Mr. Laritz can wear it tomorrow?
Yeah, Dylan just got something. He brought something in from the front door.
All right, so we got 3 St. Peter's.
So
he's got to agree on the St. Peter's pick. He's not going to go with Purdue because he's going to do his friend a solid and wear the sweatshirt tomorrow on the air.
Actually,
because they beat Kentucky.
Well, now the shirt came into New Jersey or came in here?
No, it's in Jersey, sitting on a chair in the studio, home studio.
Here's what I'm going to say.
Right.
Because I want the underdog, and I'm rooting for you guys. I'm rooting for St. Peter's. I'm going to wear that shirt on the air when we do it live from the Tom Settner Studios in New Jersey.
All right, there we go. Rob,
on Friday, we will be doing the show from there.
We are. The Delory Settner.
I'm sorry. It's the Rob and Delory studio.
Rob, I was going to wait. Rob, listen to me. Stand by. I was going to correct him.
Okay.
It is the Rob and Delory studio because my wife probably put a good 80 hours in with a little bit of Adam's help. Maybe a lot of bit of Adam's help, but a little bit of Adam's help. And she not only refurnished it, she built her own little studio. And she reminds me every day, I moved her piano out of there. So it is the Robin Delory studio. Okay. She's got naming rights. But
so we will be live from the Robin Deloria studios.
We will be live.
And I will be wearing a St. Peter's. And the only reason I'm wearing it is because Kentucky's out.
So stand by. We got Jamie on the line from Tampa. Jamie, you with us?
Good afternoon, guys. I'm listening to the show right now. Let me turn Alexa down so I can talk to you. I'm listening to the show right now. I got to tell you, I like this. I like this new show. It's live, it's local, and I can talk about the Bucks on your show, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, let me tell you this. I think it sounds like I think that Gronk is going to come back.
Absolutely. I don't think there's any doubt.
I think they're sending secret text messages to other players too, Jamie.
They probably are. I mean, listen, I wouldn't be surprised if they were because at first I thought we were going to lose the GOAT, and then we got him. But there are some voids that I think that we need to fill, and I think that they're going to work hard to fill those voids. Fournette, for example.
Yep.
Rojo. I think they're going to work hard to fill those voids. But do you think that last season we put too much strain on Brady?
Jamie, you make a good point. Or maybe he put too much pressure on himself. But obviously he's talked to the coaches and ownership, and they're probably committed to him that they're going to build yet another stronger team around him. And they got a taste of that Super Bowl and didn't like it last year. So as he said, it's unfinished business. So I think we're going to have out here in Tampa, we're going to have a fun football season.
Absolutely, and I got to tell you, listening to you guys, I just found you guys, and I'm only listening for maybe 10 minutes, and I got to tell you, I like what I hear, and the fact that you guys are on the TuneIn app, so that means I don't have to bust up my old boom box.
There you go.
Nice. To find a signal.
Well, unfortunately, you missed our interview with Doc Gooden earlier today. We had Doc Gooden on talking about his no-hitter and his world championships, and of course, being a Tampa native. Since we are a Tampa-based radio station, we definitely want to bring out as much hometown flavor as we can, and we will always be ready to talk about your Bucks. And I think one of the things, I think they had to do a readjustment. I think they were prepared once Tom left to go in a different direction for that 1 month that they had to maybe start thinking a different direction. And then when Tom decided to come back, Now they've got to kind of refocus. But again, I think it's going to be just like the year before. There's going to be free agents that want to come here. There's going to be guys that are going to want to come play with Tom Brady to possibly win another championship.
I agree. Jamie, don't be a stranger. Thanks for calling in. Make sure you call us. You can call us anytime, but definitely during the football season. And we're big Buccaneer fans, and it's very easy to root for Tom Brady.
All right.
All right. Yeah. Nice to hear from Jamie and a local guy. So, Cano, you back on the line there?
I'm here. I never left.
All right. Good.
Great show.
We're enjoying ourselves today. I just realized I called her Cano. I call a nickname because I never call anybody by their right name. So Robin is her name.
Oh, okay.
I changed that to Robinson, and then I called her Cano as in Robinson Cano, which will be a subject one. Maybe we'll talk about Robinson Cano on the Mets this year, how he's coming off a suspension. But how'd you make out today? We're going to be wrapping it up, but how did Michael do? It sounds like you're back in the home Robin DeLorio studio now.
Yeah, we left because it was the cold Jersey rain.
Yeah.
And it was, and there was a breeze, and it was freezing, and I brought a blanket, and I just,
That's not what I asked you, hon. I asked you how Michael did, and it sounds like an excuse. You're doing a red herring here. Go ahead.
Well, I don't really know how to explain it. He walked once, and then he like chopped it to the shortstop.
Well, everybody knows it's hard to play Northeast baseball because the weather, Jimmy, as you know, just outright SUCKS is sometime. But we had a good show today, Rob.
Spelling it okay? I mean, I don't get it.
The what?
Spelling it okay?
Yeah, I did that because my grandson might be listening. I'm in enough trouble with him.
Oh, right.
So anyway,
I wanted to say. Oh, okay.
What do you want to say?
I swear.
What?
Are you getting me back for all the times you can't get a word in edgewise?
No, it's hard because I think you're on like a 2-second delay, and so I think we're talking over each other today. But go ahead, tell me what you want to say.
You know what I think? I think you're so afraid, both of you actually. You boys are so afraid of what's going to come out of my mouth that you're like holding your breath that I'm done.
I love the women instinct.
You can't see Jimmy's face, but he was nodding as you were talking.
I was going, hey.
I'm not as afraid because I just don't know what subject, and we only have 3 minutes left. So I figured if we're going to start, the old rule is you don't start something unless you can finish it. But go ahead, tell me what you want to say.
Listen to me. Somewhere on Route 4 right now, or Highway 4 in Tampa.
Yeah.
Is a woman or a man listening to this show. And maybe they want to understand what you're talking about, but maybe they don't. And maybe they're in the car with their husband or their wife who's played the game before, who's an athlete, who understands what you're talking about. And maybe that person is so grateful for Robin DeLory to be here so that they don't feel alone.
Oh, is that what it is?
They are proud of what they know, and they're not ashamed of what they don't. And so here I am, Tampa. I'm here for you, and I want you to know you're not alone.
I'm sure Mayor Jane Kasner is petrified you might be the next great thing in Tampa, running for mayor or whatever. But we do appreciate you. We don't underestimate your value. We respect you as not only a woman but our partner. And that being said, we're going to give the last 30 seconds to you before we close it out.
Thank you, honey. Because I really think that there's times where people that don't understand sports, they want to be educated about it.
No, I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do.
So maybe sometimes you two could give me the cliff notes.
Okay, so when a guy chops a ball to shortstop, it's called a ground out to short. It's called a ground out to shortstop.
Okay.
Now,
if it didn't hit the ground,
my son grounded out to short.
There you go.
Right.
There you go.
And that would be 6-3. And that would mean
too complicated.
Right. That would mean he's 0 for 1 and he needs help. That's what that means. But
we love you, Robin.
Talking about. Thank you.
All right.
I love you too.
We got 2 minutes to break, Robin. Please stay on. We got 2 minutes to break, but we just want to wrap it up. here with our own little day. Again, we were very excited, Jimmy, and thank you for getting Doc on. He's a good friend.
And we got Jeff Nelson tomorrow.
And Jeff Nelson tomorrow at 4:30, World Series guy.
Four-time World Series champion. And
by the way, you have 3 now. We decided you have 3, not 2. But
is that what it is?
Yeah, it's 3
World Series,
3 World Series rings. And he's your former teammate, so that'll be a lot of fun tomorrow. And
we'll definitely be talking. Remember, it's our 727-518-0820 tomorrow. We will be talking about March Madness, and we have a 7 o'clock, a 7:20, a 9:30, and a 9:59 games coming up. Let's get out of here. I want to hear some people's prediction here in Tampa, who they think's going to win.
Thank you to Jamie, too, and a couple other callers we had today. It was nice. Our buddy Don DeLuca, it's always good to hear his conversations and insight on police talk, and it's exciting. We're going to the game tonight, Jimmy. I hope there's no rain tonight, and we're looking forward to that. Baltimore Orioles 6:35 start against the Yankees out at Steinbrenner Field.
A very rare night game tonight.
Yeah, very rare night game, and it'll be good, and we'll have a nice I don't know if we can have another sausage sandwich. I tasted that all day yesterday. Too much information, but love them. Thank you to everybody. King and the Cop, Tommy Setner, Jimmy Leyritz, and Robin DeLore back in New Jersey. Always fun to hear Robin's voice, and can't wait to see her on Friday. Again, the King and the Cop, Big 8, 820 AM, Sports Talk, Florida.
We are out. Good job, guys. Yeah, I got everything fixed with the phone line. We'll have it squared away for